They know what's going on in the world because they're aware of the data and they know where their eyes are. They know how many seconds you're swiping for. They know how many seconds you're not.
When you lose the ability to deal with that, you become a very scary individual to be with. Being aware that you're not aware is the first step to becoming more aware.
Who wants to get run up on and karate chop straight in the back of the neck and have their phone took? Welcome back, everyone. Season 1. I was about to say 4, getting ahead of myself. Season 1, episode 4. That's right.
Damn.
We've been in the studio. It's gone quick, bro.
Let's leak the intel. Episode 4. Let's get into it. Today, we're discussing a very, very important topic. Something that I think we all need to work on. Something that we can all improve on. And that is awareness.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. I feel like it's a natural human instinct that we need to be intact with 24/7.
Absolutely. I think in this modern day era, we've kind of lost our awareness for just life in general. On a general playing field, we've lost our awareness for a lot of things. And I think we all walk around with our minds too occupied, too busy, focused on the wrong things when we should be focusing on the things that are staring us right in the face.
I feel like it's in this society, our awareness has been genetically modified almost. If I'm rather honest, we've made to have short attention spans, not really be aware of what's going on around us in day life. Completely disconnected, earphones in, 15-second videos.
Absolutely. When I was a young kid, I loved Thomas the Tank Engine. Thomas the Tank Engine was about 30 minutes an episode.
Thomas the Tank Engine himself, or just one of the other engines?
Just the TV shows.
Oh, in general?
Just the TV show.
Not Tank himself?
Nah. But, so I loved that show, and it was about 30 minutes long. And when I was that age, I could probably engage my attention span for about 30 minutes. Nowadays, as the grown man that I present to you today, my attention span is probably more like 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Genuinely, it's bad.
You got a TikTok attention span.
Shorts got us moving.
Like to call it.
Yeah. Shorts got us moving brazy.
Yeah.
It's a problem.
Oh, it's definitely problematic because people just ain't locked in the way that they used to be.
No.
And I feel like you can see that with generations even below us. Like their attention span is ridiculous.
Absolutely.
You walk down the street, people ain't even watching who's behind them.
Absolutely.
And that's an issue, right?
Taking note of what you're actually doing. I'm not sure how it is for you, but in the morning, I might wake up, first thing, headphones on, YouTube video on, I'm walking around, I'm already locked into something else and everything is on autopilot. So even as I'm brushing my teeth, rather than focusing on the action of brushing my teeth, I'm focusing on whoever's chatting in my ear. And I think, one, that takes away our ability to thrive in solitude.
Yeah.
I don't know how it is for you, but certainly for me, when I'm in periods of solitude now, it almost feels strange. It feels unnatural because I've spent so long filling my ears with so many external sources that I have now become uncomfortable with the idea of being truly alone. And so if that noise stops even for a second, you suddenly open the floodgates for the chatter that your internal mind likes to spout. And I think when you lose the ability to deal with that, you become a very scary individual to be with in yourself.
Okay, I see where you're coming from. Do you know what my old boss said to me one time? He said to me that your mind is a garden and you need to stand guard at the gate. Yeah, you need to be aware of what's coming into your mind and you need to make sure that like it's positive. Yet again, that comes down to awareness though. You need to be aware of what's coming in your mind. And also it's important to know what's coming out, right? You want to know that you're putting positive output out there as well as taking in good input.
Absolutely.
Coming back to the thing about you saying about like brushing your teeth and stuff, but you're already listening. I feel like that's subconscious awareness. That's like a whole nother topic, but I feel like you brushing your teeth is awareness in itself because you could just be one dirty ass motherfucker and not brush your teeth.
I hear where you're coming from, but I think what I'm getting at is in order to be aware when you're out on the street or when you're engaging with an individual, you need to give yourself the space to be aware when there's nothing coming at you, so that you can learn to deal with that chatter and that nonsense that your mind just naturally spits out. As a human being, our minds like to be active. We like to think about all sorts of stupidness. And I think if you run away from that continuously, all of a sudden when you're thrust back into a place where you are now lacking that ability to just sit down with yourself, you know, when was the last time you sat down and meditated? I think we've spoke about meditation. It's not really something you enjoy to do.
I told you before, I've done it once in a while, but it's not something like that I get up every morning and go do it. Like I've probably done it like once a month for the past couple of months.
Right. Okay.
And it's a nice feeling, right?
It is.
But for me, I just ain't got time for it.
It is.
It's like I got
time for it.
Yeah, I just ain't got time for it, bro. I ain't got time to sit there and calm my mind. Like, I'm aware of it as well. I haven't got to sit there to calm my mind.
Do you not feel like you're hindering your efficiency in not giving yourself the space to do that? Or do you feel like... Now, I'm not sitting here advocating for meditation, because I believe that meditation can be achieved through multiple different ways. For example...
Yeah, that's proven, by the way. It can be. And I believe it works for a lot of people.
Absolutely.
Well, I agree with you.
For me... I was explaining to Alf that when I wake up in the morning, that's when my mind has the chatter's the loudest, and the voices aren't the most kind and gentle. And I found that meditation wouldn't really work for me. I didn't feel as though I wanted to just sit down and do nothing. So that's when I practice the keyboard, because it occupies me, but you get into a flow state to a point where you're almost so focused on that one thing that it's a form of meditation.
That's a true thing as well, right? Because a lot of health professionals, and I know myself, that like even when you just go on a walk on your own in peace, like that's a form of meditation. It gives you time to think. And that's what essentially meditation is, right? It's just like giving your brain the time to recap. So the form of meditation I'm saying don't really work for me is I've tried sitting there, not like with my hands like this, but you get what I'm saying. I've tried sitting there and like listening to the white noise sounds, and it just don't work for me. My mind is rather on the rapid side, I'd like to say. I'm extremely creative, and I don't know how to explain it. I don't like to dim my creativeness down, especially when I'm in building mode, right? Like right now, I'm trying to build this absolute 9.5 magnitude earthquake-resistant tower of mine that is just going to be amazing when I get there. So for me right now, that just sort of don't work for me. But I want to bring it back for a second to what you said about London, because that's interesting, right? London, very city vibe, very manic. You need to be aware in any city you go to, right? There's a lot of stuff going on. Why do you feel like you got aware in that situation? And then after you've answered the question, I'm gonna elaborate on it a bit more.
I think because the space was so foreign. I don't get into London too often. I have a love-hate relationship with the city. Just to go off on a quick tangent, it's one of those ones where when I left after that quick visit there, I found myself almost eager to run away from it, because it gets very intense very quickly, and I found myself very overstimulated. And I think when you're in a strange city which is full of individuals from all different walks of life,
it's very diverse.
It's very diverse, and I think you can very quickly fall victim to, somebody taking a little cheap shot on you. In New York, a lot of muggings happen in the subway.
Yeah,
they interviewed a bunch of the criminals which were doing these muggings.
Yeah.
And what they discovered was that the muggers would be able to look at a person, how they walked, how they carried themselves, and decide whether they would be an appropriate victim to mug. And it was based on simple things like how the individual carried themselves. Did they walk very straight, tall, uniformed? Did they keep their head up, or did they keep their head down looking at their phone? Were they aware of their surroundings? Did they look like they were ready to activate combat mode at any point? Or did they look like, you know, kind of like an imbalanced reindeer, Bambi, that could just be knocked over at any single point? And that was kind of how they made their decision on who to target. And I think when you go into those environments, you have to be aware, otherwise somebody will very quickly think there's somebody who's so locked into whatever's going on in their head that I could put my hand in their pocket and take whatever I like, and they wouldn't be any the wiser.
Yeah. And I think in cities, it's a thing where when you probably was there, I know when I go to cities and stuff, or across the world as well, that everyone's locked into this city life of like locked in on their phone, doing their own thing. You go on the underground or even the subway in New York, which I've been on, and everyone's just on their own thing. Like they're locked in, like I say, earphones, phone in hand. They're not really paying attention to what's going on around them. But the reason I asked you about the London thing, right, is because I feel like we have this sense in us as human. Like when you do lock into your awareness, all of a sudden, it's like a spidey sense, right? Everything 10x's. You feel like you know who's around you. You can feel like a quite wide gap, like this almost gap of vibration, like when you're locked in. But when the earphone's in, it's like that's just locked off. Like your awareness is gone all of a sudden. But when it's off and you smell better, you hear better, you're just more aware in general. Did you find that when you locked in?
And I think that ties into what I was saying, where you have to get comfortable with not bombarding yourself with external sources of noise. You know, everything generates its own frequency of noise. And how many times will people be listening to music, scrolling on their phone, quickly stop, watch a video, then change to a YouTube video? I'm guilty of it myself.
Yeah.
But I think, like you said, when you move around in that way, you are nerfing all of your senses to what's going on in the actual external world.
Yeah, 100%. And you're almost like this sounds crazy to say, but you're almost like a little injured gazelle in the wilderness, right? Waiting for a predator to just come and swipe you. So that's why I'm big on awareness. Like I feel awareness is a necessary life skill that you need to be always working on. That's why I'm a big advocate on combat sports. Obviously, you know, I love to fight and stuff, not professionally, but just in my spare time as training. I like to stay aware all the time. Obviously, even with the world, I know I do some crazy shit sometimes. Like I said the other week, I just jumped on a bus because I just wanted to stay in touch what was going on like day-to-day people's commute and seeing what they was up to. Because to me, it's almost like research as such, just as what's going on in humanity in general. And I think that's really important. Like you need to be aware of your friends as well, and the people around you. I think that's extremely important. And I think I picked that up from young, in like secondary school, right? Like I feel like you can chop up individuals, but then when you're a child, it's very different. You go to a man, and then that's when you actually know your moral compass and know where you're at in life, I feel. I don't know how you feel about that, but I believe that as kids, we might not be as in control as our mind as we think. Like we can be easily influenced as a youth. But when you're older, you've definitely got a lot of control of your mind in the sense of like, if you do something wrong in your adult life, you should be held accountable for that.
Yeah.
And you need to be aware of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
100%.
Absolutely.
So like where I'm going with that is, let's say you have a group of friends, for example, you need to make sure that the people around you are going to help you grow as an individual. You need to make sure they're not contaminating your mind in the wrong ways, right? Because even an example here is like, if you have a circle of friends and one of them's weak in a way that could hurt you in the future, let's say financially, for example, right? All of a sudden, their financial situation is worth more to them than your relationship. And you're on a journey, and let's say you're ahead financially more than they are, this could be dangerous to you, right? Like this could affect you. So I believe that awareness in every area of your life, you should be developing on a day-to-day basis, whether that's financially, relationships, awareness even with your body and your inner self. You should be aware of the stuff that makes you feel down and aware of the stuff that also makes you feel up. as I was saying earlier, like you need to be aware and stand guard at the garden of your mind. And if you're not, you're going to find yourself picking up a lot of bad habits.
Yeah. What do you feel like are some practical ways that we can do that? For example, awareness is something that I definitely need to work on. There's the obvious stuff, like cutting out the amount that you're wearing your headphones, cutting out the amount that you're scrolling on YouTube Shorts or TikTok or any other app which affects your attention span. They're kind of obvious, but
I would say attention and awareness are two different things almost though, right? Because in a sense, if you're aware why you're on TikTok, it's a different reason. Like if I'm on TikTok doing market research for the trends and see what's popping, see what's sort of going on, so where I can get a gap in the market, that's awareness. That's not my attention in the wrong way. Like I'm fully aware of that and I'm doing it. Wherever I'm on a tangent, just scrolling through, like 99% of the public do, right? Like when I'm on the train somewhere or when I'm traveling or commuting, even whatever country I've been to in the world, they're just like that. And it's like they've got no awareness to what they're even doing. Before they've digested the first bit of information, they're on to the next. And I feel like that's why a lot of people in this generation struggle to learn, because they're just not aware of what they're doing at the time. It's just like so like that, rather than like actually being aware of what you're doing. Like you're going on TikTok for what reason? If I'm going on TikTok, I know I'm going on there to do market research, right? And that's just an awareness. I don't think that's an attention thing. Do you see where I'm coming from?
yeah, no, I completely agree with you. So going back to awareness then, what do you think I could do to start being more aware? And when I say being aware, I think we were just laughing. Things like forgetting certain things or reversing into a car or something. And the thing is,
which you did do the other day, right?
Which I did do. Luckily, it
was everyone
bad.
okay?
Everyone was absolutely fine.
Was anyone in the car?
No, it was just me.
Oh, good.
So, but you know why that happened? Because I was on the phone to you, having a conversation and completely locked into that rather than focusing on one task at a time. So what do you feel like is a good turnkey solution that people can implement?
What, to develop their awareness?
Yeah.
Just analysing their day-to-day things, their day-to-day habits, and what their attention's going on, even though it's a separate thing, what their attention's going on, right? Because if all of a sudden you're waking up and you don't even really like, a lot of people just glide through life, right? Like you don't even like on autopilot, like we say. And just to clarify, because we haven't really, like by autopilot, when we do say this on previous episodes, I just want to make it clear what we mean. So by autopilot, we mean like when you go on a plane, right? You click the button and it's just gliding by and you get to your destination.
Right, yeah.
Just to give a quick analogy on that, because I know we've mentioned it a few times. But yeah, when you're on autopilot in the wrong ways, like we say, you're almost deteriorating your awareness, should we say, because you're not even aware of being aware. You're just there, you're waking up, like you say, you brush your teeth, you're on your phone, you're at work, you go to work, you leave work, you eat. It's like it's very staged. So I think definitely actually like just taking time out and analysing what you're doing in the day, and even just taking some time out to not go to work with your headphones in, or just like when you're going on that drive to London, as we've mentioned in a previous episode, to just be aware of what's around you and what's going on, what you're taking in. Do you know what I mean? Definitely don't be on the phone at the same time as reversing. But even if you're doing that, right, that just sounds like you've got to develop your awareness skills there, because I can reverse and be on the phone and still not crash into a car.
Right, enough with the subtle shots, mate. Because what that opens you up to, there's always a pride before a fall. So you sit on your high horse and absolutely think that you're so much more high and mighty than me. But I'm telling you, I thought I could reverse and be on the phone at the same time. And there's many times that I have.
Yeah. No, but I'm sure there's things that you can do at the same time that I couldn't, right?
Yeah.
I'm not trying to sit on this mighty horse. I'm just saying, like, there's certain things, like my awareness in them situations. I'm a good driver. Have you ever been in the car with me?
Yeah.
then you should know I'm a good driver.
Yeah, I don't have anything.
Yeah. All right, good.
Any criticism.
All right, anyway. But like, look, for this reason, like, I always stay alert myself. I like to be alert. I like to be an alert individual. Like, I will not walk down the street, especially in a city, with my earphones in. That's a no-go for me. I don't know about, yeah, that's a no-go.
That's just a straight rule.
Bro, that's like essential. Especially, I'm not saying London's a completely bad place, but it's a place where you need to be alert. Otherwise, some shit's going down and you are that wounded gazelle in this big jungle.
Yeah, but is that because you don't live in London?
Oh, bro, I've lived in London and I've spent a lot of time in London.
And even then, when you were living there and you were taking the tube on a daily basis, or you were traveling around on the buses and all the different variations that you can use to travel, were you adhering to that rule?
No way, bro. No way am I keeping my headphones in like that. But that's due to my awareness, my alertness, right? Like, even on the underground, I'd rather put up with the noise than not know what's going on around me. Or read a book. But earphones in's a big no. Right? Little rustle in your pocket. You need to be able to hear it. Your phone's gone. That shit's important to me. I ain't losing my phone that day. Walking dark places at night in London, you're vulnerable. No. I've learnt my lessons. I've been there. Like, I've had them problems. So it's just like, it's not happening again. Once a lesson, twice, you're just a fucking retard. Simple.
No. That's quite crazy to me, because I would happily travel through
Have you ever
London.
been in a situation where you've been vulnerable from doing that, though?
No.
There you go. I have. Even drunk. I won't do it no more.
No. Well, drunk is a big one for me. I won't drink when I go out anymore, purely for that awareness reason. I like to be in social spaces and be completely aware of my surroundings and be aware of who's talking to who, how they're speaking to each other. You understand the way you understand the hierarchy of a social setting much better if you choose not to inebriate yourself with copious amounts of alcohol and stay sober. Now, yes, you might lose out on a bit of that Dutch courage, which is essential for us all sometimes. Sometimes you need a bit of alcohol just to take you out of your skin. But again, that's another thing that I like to be aware of, is why am I feeling as though I need alcohol in order to liven me up so that I can be a bigger asset and more fun for the people that I'm with? Because ultimately, I'm more of a liability. The more that I drink, and this is what bothers me about people who you go out and they just drink copious amounts of alcohol.
That was me.
Well,
that was me. But now I like to keep it real controlled. I ain't drunk in a very long time.
Real halal.
To this day, yeah.
Absolutely. And I think because you then become the wounded gazelle of the group.
Yeah, you do.
And you're the one who's starting fights, or you're the one who's getting into fights, or you're the one who's making silly decisions, or you're the one who's leading the group astray. And a bit of random adventure is fun, and you know, it gives some excitement. But I think you can have those crazy sporadic nights sober if you just open yourself up to every single opportunity. But if you're aware, then you're better at making decisions of which way you want the story to go. All of a sudden, you're not going back to some randomer's apartment to do absolute stupidness that the next day you're gonna have regrets of, and you're gonna feel like an idiot. You're not gonna have to deal with that because you have the awareness to make the right decisions which are in line with your moral compass. If people drunk less alcohol, and I know alcohol is a big part of our culture, but that's why I love chilling with the Arabs. Yeah. Because they don't drink. They sit around drinking coffee and just talking. And I've had some of the best nights of my life with the Arabs.
Yeah. So some of my Muslim brothers out there, they don't drink and they don't have a problem with it. It's like you say, it's just in our culture, it's in our society. But I feel like it's very important. If you're aware of how much you can drink and you can handle, that's a great thing. If you have to go to the extreme to find out, which I have, Do you know what I mean? I've took things too far in regards to drinking before. And yet again, at least I'm aware of that, and it's put me off drinking as much as I have in the past. Like I say, I ain't drunk for a long time. But I think it's just that all-round awareness, because it makes you aware of other things as well. Like, you have them crazy nights out with these people, like especially when you're younger, that you're not even really friends with, and you just even become aware of your social circle in them matters. Like, I'm then aware, like, okay, don't really want to be around such and such person when I'm drinking or doing no good, because they simply can't be trusted, or they're not there to defend me if anything does go down in a bad manner. Like, you need to be aware before going on that night out. Them 3 people, 4 people, 5 people, if you're lucky 5, are they your real friends? Are they going to back you? Are they going to help you when they're drunk? If you're drunk and you're chatting smack, are they going to tell you to shut up and put you to bed? Do you know what I mean? Or are they going to instigate you and get you into more trouble? Like, you just need to be aware of all different factors. And that comes back to, yet again, if we could come back to the whole subject of awareness, when you're doing anything, you need to be aware of every aspect of that situation and be in the present.
Oh, being in the present is a big one. You ever read The Power of Now?
Yes, I have.
Yes.
Almanac?
No, Eckhart Tolle.
Eckhart Tolle?
Yeah. Maybe we're talking about 2 different books.
Oh, maybe so.
But
I'm going to look that one up after this.
There's a book about being in the present. From a spirituality, from a spiritual perspective, he's talking about the power of being in the now. But you can look at the present moment. The present moment is all we have. I think we're all aware of that. But so many of us either live walking around ruminating on the past or daydreaming about the future. And I think if you can, I met one individual when I was in Thailand. Dude has a special place in my heart. He was incredible. 2 individuals actually, now that I think about it. And they were remarkable to me. And one night I met up with this guy and we had the most crazy adventure. None of us had been drinking. None of us had taken any
psychedelics,
substances or anything like that. But we just had this. We were just fully engorged in the present, and we were just doing the complete most random things. But it was such a vicarious, exciting way to live. And he was somebody who believed in being in the present moment and not allowing your mind to wander off. Because when you're in the present, you can see every situation for what it is and not what you want it to be. And you live in a state of true reality as opposed to augmented or a reality which really is just a figment of your imagination.
Yeah.
So I think being present is extremely important in honing the art of being aware about every
They collaborate with each other very well. And this is something funny enough that I teach in IOI. Funnily enough, I teach about being present and what the difference is. Like, you can never actually be anything but the present. If you think into the future, you're thinking about matters that have not even happened yet. So you're 100% not in the present. And if you're trying to go back to the future and think about your past, it's impossible to be in the present. So, like, you need to be thinking about what you're doing at that time. And yet again, ground yourself and make sure that you are aware. And this is going to help you a lot, even in day-to-day life. If you're aware of what's going on around you, you're going to prevent a lot of roadblocks in your life. If you're not aware that you've got bad friends in your circle, if you're not aware that you've got habits, bad habits, addictions and stuff like that, if you're not aware that your body might not be in the shape you want it to be in, you're going to compound on these things, and one day it's going to be a massive snowball of fuck-ups, and you're going to be like, damn.
How did I get here?
How? So you need to be aware. And this caught on to me just as I was coming out of a teen, that you need to be aware. It's maybe an instinct that I developed pretty rapidly in my later teens, like due to everything that was going on in my life. But I was just like extremely aware. I was alert, like I was onto anyone. But at the same time, you need to take awareness with a pinch of salt, because you could make yourself paranoid to a point.
That's true. And
right?
you don't want to live in a state of perpetual fear either.
No, exactly. But at the same time, if I think back to them times and think, oh, yet again, me being aware, right? If I think Why was I paranoid? What was I doing that was making me paranoid? Okay, I was doing that. So that's what was making me paranoid about hanging around with certain person who made me feel that way, and execute it out of my life. And now I don't get as paranoid. One problem down. And if you are aware, you'll find yourself just being able to tick all these issues off your list. I'm 15 stone. Great. Go to the gym. I'm aware of it. Lose the weight. Done. Healthier than I've ever been. You need to get a bit more business minded. I'm aware of it. Go read some books. Go jump in the deep end. Go learn business. Go put yourself in uncomfortable zones that you don't want to be in. Done. I know more about business. Investing. Off the list. Ticked. Gone to every investment, because obviously I've been in the crypto space previously. Every crypto investment event out there. Talk to people. Network. Jump into the wormhole of crypto. Boom. I know about crypto. So it's like being aware of these things. And then all of a sudden, all the negatives, like me worrying about being too overweight, me worrying about missing out on opportunities in the future, me worrying about not being a bit more business-minded. Sorry, cat caught my tongue there. Business-minded. They're all out the window now. I'm more than confident than ever because I was aware of these situations. So I think for this reason, like, awareness is such a big thing to have. And if you're not practicing it and practicing being aware, then damn, you need to be aware and start practicing awareness.
Yeah, I think that's the main takeaway of this episode, is simply that being aware is something that is very overlooked in modern society. We spend a lot of our time artificially creating unnecessary noise in our mind, and that makes us frightened to move into periods of solitude, but also means that we become reliant on this artificial noise when we're moving in places where really we need to be as aware as possible. So I think being aware that you're not aware is the first step to becoming more aware.
But to practice it is a different thing. Like you was asking, like, how would you say? And like I say, you've just got to take time out of your day to analyze your day. Because it's just like these big tech companies, right? They know what's going on in the world because they're aware of the data. They're analyzing what's going on in their platforms, and they know where the eyes are. They know how many seconds you're swiping for. They know how many seconds you're not. They know what you're engaging in, what you're not. All of a sudden, because they're super aware of what you're getting up to on a day-to-day basis, they're creating these monopolies out of thin air. TikTok expanded the biggest growth anyone's ever seen within like 2 years. It's crazy. What Instagram did in like 10 years, TikTok did in 1. Simply because the fact, if you ask me, that they was aware of the data and what's going on. And then they've created this short attention economy where everyone's locked in. And it's not going nowhere anytime soon.
Capitalize on it.
Capitalize on it. Yeah, like be aware of it. If you're a business owner and you're out there, being aware is important also to the fact that if you're not online and you're a business nowadays, you're missing out on so many potential clients, so many potential eyeballs. Because if you go catch a bus, a plane, your car on the motorway, seeing all them naughties on their phone while they're driving, everyone's on their phone all the time. So if you're not there on social media where the masses are, including me and you, right? We use social media. Then you're kind of taking an L already. So you need to be there in regards to business as well. But I think, like I say, the biggest takeaway from this, be aware of your awareness. Make sure that you are going through your days, working out what you're doing, seeing if there's anything that you could work on more in regards to your awareness, and go from there. I think there's not much I'd want to say on that topic, to be honest.
Absolutely. I can't agree with you more. And I've taken a lot away from this episode. I think the first step that I'm going to make is, like you said, just being aware of what I'm spending my time on during the day.
Yeah.
And then beginning to come in and seeing how I can divert that awareness to more constructive experiences. Because if you're not careful, you will spend a large portion of your life. I know I've spent way too many hours on Call of Duty when I was young. Wasted way too much of my teenage years playing video games. But hey ho.
I think that's why I'm so big on goals though as well, because goals is going to help you harness your awareness as well. because you can relate the things that you need to be aware of to your goals. Like we were saying on a previous episode, if your goal is to be a top G gamer, there's no problem with banging COD.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying?
I can't argue with
So,
that.
so yeah, again, just align your goals. Very simple. Set your goals out there. Be aware of what you need to do to get there, and just stay aware in your day-to-day life. If you're doing the bad things, make sure you pick that out. Go do the good things. If you're doing the good things, great. Be more aware of it. See how you can expand on them. You can always be more aware all the time.
It's really not much more complicated than that. I think too many people complicate the issue, but it's as simple as that. When you're aware of the things that you're doing wrong in your life, if you're spending too much money, all you need is to put a little bit more awareness onto how much you're spending, and then you can nip that in the bud real quick, and you keep that consistency for a couple of months, and you'll be surprised just how much good it can do within your life.
Yeah. Or you could even look at it from the other end, in the monetary sense that you've just said. Like, if you're spending too much money, maybe you need to make some more. Go look at some different avenues instead of wasting your time going out drinking. It's just like a balance of things, right? So, but yeah, I think that wraps it up nicely. I'm happy. I've walked away with some good prompts.
That's the Intel leaked.
Yeah, that's the
episode
Intel
4
leaked.
done. Stay aware, my people.
Yeah.
Stay safe.
Don't forget to like, subscribe. I'm going to say it this episode because I don't think I have previously.
Nah, always
So,
like,
yeah.
subscribe. It goes without saying, but in case you forgot,
Yeah. Show
Like,
some love.
subscribe. We're trying to build a community here, and we need all the help that we can get. And if you've got any thoughts, comments, or feedback that you want to leave us, we'll read everything you write. So drop a comment as well.
Especially if you want some intel that needs to be leaked. Let us know. Locked in. But peace out. Bye.
Peace.